Hey guys, Matt here with the Van Life channel. In the last episode, I went over the first stop of a tour I dubbed the North American Van Life Industry Tour, as I rode around North America trying to turn what was a white windowless cargo van into the beginning stages of a project to turn it into an on-the-road, fully equipped, really slick-looking podcasting, video production studio that I can take around North and South America to share my videos in a really interesting environment, interview people, show different places that I go, all from the seat of the van back there. The last episode I talked about the front bumper, the top roof rack, the rear bumper from a company called Backwoods Adventure Mods in Arkansas. Today I'm going to go over the second stop on the tour, where I took the van to Texas and met two companies, one of which I'm going to focus on in this video, called Mascoat, which manufactures a product called lizard skin. Today is actually the ideal time to talk about lizard skin because it is minus 12 degrees outside, if you can see it. It's so cold, in fact, that on the way here today, I was getting some sensor faults. The sliding side door is completely frozen to latches, so it's not even closing completely. And my windshield wiper fluid will not eject onto the windshield wipers. It's so cold. I think I have minus 10 degree windshield wiper fluid, and it's just a little bit too cold for it to work properly. And so I hope that I didn't ruin the actual pumps that push the windshield wiper fluid up onto the windshield. I'll find out later. Now I wanted to make a platform. Hey, yo, what just happened? Apparently in that section where I sat back, the focus went all wacko on my camera, so I'm gonna re-record this section and like insert it there. I didn't want to scrap all the old footage because the fact that it was minus 15 degrees at the time was actually quite a good representation of why I wanted lizard skin on my van. It was unusable footage, so anyways. We'll go back to the last footage later, but this is just a couple of days later. Anyways, so why did I want lizard skin? Well, I knew that I was going to be taking that van from North America, the top, all the way to the south of South America, and hopefully beyond. And I was going to be in a lot of different places with a lot of different temperatures, and the thermal barrier was really important for me. A lizard skin comes in two parts: a spray coating that is a sound deadener, which works to add a layer onto the skin of your van to stop the reverberation.
But he can show you the difference in what it sounds like. Everyone's familiar with that one. Wow.
So yeah, so this is, you can't make podcasts with that kind of stuff going on. But the other is a thermal barrier that you spray over that. It's a two-parter. And the thermal barrier helps to protect against changes in temperature from the outside to the inside and the inside to the outside.
Right, so we got some hot water here.
Okay.
Basically what this is an aluminum cup half coated with lizard skin, and you can see the thicknesses that we're talking about.
Oh,
so
okay. Wow,
that's really
that's
thin.
softer than I thought.
Yeah, and it's really thin. So what we were talking about earlier with the the R value, this is why it's hard for us to do it, because
It's so thin.
It's so thin. This is probably 180, 200 degrees.
Right.
But we're working with 1 millimeter of product, and so if I go to touch that, it's going to be untouchable. Watch out.
Right, that's hot.
Yeah. But here, I'll let you pick it up by the lizard skin.
Yeah. Starbucks should put this on all their cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. You can't touch. Oh, even if my finger accidentally touched the bottom of the cup, it's
Right.
shockingly hot.
Yeah.
And yet, I mean, that's a very, very practical example of the usage of that. Lizard skin started as a tool for people doing classic car restorations, where you were taking an older car that maybe didn't have the technology for sound deadening and thermal protection from way back then, and you're putting this huge engine in that radiates a lot of heat, has a lot of vibrations, and so people would spray the interior of the classic car with these components that wouldn't take up a lot of space, but it would help to prevent against a lot of that sound and a lot of that temperature change. I was looking on YouTube and I saw some van lifers that were implementing it into their van build, and I thought, wow, what a great first line of defense against sound and temperature. So I contacted Mascoat and I told them about my project, and they invited me out to Houston to check out their facility and pick up 10 gallons of the sound deadener and 10 gallons of the thermal barrier. So I went down, checked them out, met with the owners, learned a lot about them. They use their product for all sorts of classic cars, like I said, but also commercial applications where you're looking to prevent sound and prevent thermal penetration through all sorts of different projects. Now, when I bought the van, it wasn't completely a cargo van. The previous owner had built in his own sort of living space in the back, and he put kill mat all over the walls of the van. Kill mat is a sort of tarry substance that comes in sheets that you adhere to the walls of your van, and it helps to deaden the sound. I had to take some steps that weren't exactly recommended through the lizard skin product to spray over the kill mat, because normally you'd spray on the lizard skin and then over the lizard skin where you might want, you could put some more kill mat or not use kill mat at all. So I was actually thinking of doing something quite unique. I don't think anybody's ever tried to spray over the kill mat, and there was no way for me to take the kill mat off because it's basically like tar, and to chisel all of that off would have been just incredibly time consuming. But now let's go into the van and take a look at what the lizard skin looks like, and I'm gonna actually stop this weird temporal change in my video. We'll go back to the time where it was minus 15 degrees, and I'll show you me getting into the van and discussing it. That part was in focus. Okay. Now we're inside the van. I don't have any furniture in here, and this is a cargo van, so the heating system and the air conditioning system doesn't go all the way to the back. In fact, I had the truck running with like half blowing warm air into the van to kind of get it to a good temperature. And I mean, if that is any testament to the quality of lizard skin, it is very, very comfortable inside the back of this van, which is only insulated at this point with the lizard skin coating on the walls and then my wall kit, which you can kind of see here. What I did in here is I tore apart the entirety of the inside of the van. Like I said, all the walls were off, and I sprayed the lizard skin on the wall. You can see here this like orange peel look. This is the thermal barrier that is on top of the sound deadener. I think 3 coats of the sound deadener and 2 coats of the thermal barrier on everything. So you might be asking, does it work? Well, it is very, very warm in the entirety of this basically cavernous raw van. Like I said, it's a cumulative thing. So if you want to install lizard skin or spray lizard skin, I would certainly recommend it if you have the time, if you have the finances, and if you're ready to tear your whole van apart and put it back together. I sprayed like I said, the entire cab of the van. I took the seats out, I took the dashboard apart, and I sprayed all of that interior, and I sprayed all of the walls, and I sprayed the floor. And what I did in my case is I sprayed over the kill mat, which actually was a good idea. It stuck to the kill mat quite good. And basically I have double the sound protection because I have the kill mat, then I have the lizard skin sound deadener sprayed over that and in all the cracks and crevices, and then I have the thermal barrier on top of that. Then I have the Havelock wool that's inside the body of the van and in between the wall panels and the surface of the van, and so that's quite nice. You can touch this surface. It's minus 15 degrees outside, and I can touch the surface of the van, and it's not at all cool. It's actually just normal temperature. It's just room temperature, which is pretty impressive. The other thing that I liked about lizard skin and spray coating this interior was that after you go through all of your edges for the windows and you drill for all your wall kit and everything, the lizard skin coating actually goes over all of the surfaces of the van, and it sort of protects any of the edges, only of the exposed edges, especially with spraying into the internal cavities of the van, because I was spraying into these cavities, and I was basically filling those cavities with a bonded surface that won't allow moisture to get at it, and it won't allow fragments of metal that might be in the future as I start playing with the interior of the van, getting it finished. You know, a piece of fragmented steel that lands on top of a uncoated surface, you'll have a propagation of rust, and that rust will end up cutting a hole in your van. And now what I have is the entirety of the van coated with this lizard skin, and it kind of buys me a little bit of peace of mind. And I'm curious out there, do you think that I'm making sense with that, or do you think that that doesn't matter? I think that actually is a good first line of defense against rust and corrosion by having the entirety of the interior of this van coated with something so thick and so substantial. You might also be wondering about weight. When you spray it on, what I was told from the makers of lizard skin was that once it dries, it loses a considerable portion of its weight via the water as it cures. I used a sprayer that was supplied by Lizard Skin to do most of it, but you can see actually in some of these spots I painted it on because I wanted a really, really thick coat, and I had a little bit of it left, and I used a brush to get to the bottom of all of the buckets and sort of use every single drop of lizard skin coating that I had in order to kind of maximize the amount of surface area I could cover in this van. The only way that I could do a direct comparison is to build a van exactly this way, this style of van, and have it sit next to this van without the lizard skin, but have everything else, and then measure both. And I don't have the ability to do that. What I can say is that I have found in my travels after spraying the coating that the interior of the van holds its temperature a lot better. I don't have any raw data to say that other than my own intuition. And I feel like if all I'm dealing with is raw metal here with a little coating on it, it's a considerable improvement in the battle against losing any sort of internal environment as far as temperature goes. That's for heat and cold. One of the videos I watched where somebody had lizard skin, it was like 110 degrees outside, very, very hot, and he put his hand on the roof of the van. He didn't have a roof rack or anything. He put his hand on the roof of the van.
But before I sprayed this in here, like, you would not be able to put your hand on the ceiling like this. That would have been impossible. It would have been 115 degrees or something like that. It was so hot because it was just raw metal, of course. There's no kind of insulation barrier there. But now I'm able to do that. I swear this stuff must have dropped like the roof ceiling of this van at least 20 degrees or something. It is absolutely crazy.
That was a real selling video for me when I saw that. I'm like, if I can make the literal surface of the van a defense against these sorts of sound and temperature, why not? So meeting Lizard Skin was really, really great, and doing that project was I think a very, very good first step in the build of my van. I have the ability to do it. You might not have the ability to do it, but it's there, and it's a product that exists out there, and I would encourage you to do it if you do have the time. Let me move my PEX piping. I have a hydronic heated flooring system, which I can talk to you about later. This is the wheel well. I actually gobbed on the sound deadener and thermal barrier over the kill mat here, and you can see how the kill mat kind of roughs it up. One of the things that I think you need to appreciate is when you do spray this material, one of the things that I realized was that you need to scuff the surface of your van. If it is glossy, fresh paint style surface, which all of the interior of this van basically was, it didn't adhere the first coat. A lot of it peeled back off, and I had to peel it off. And what I did is I took some light grit sandpaper and I just scuffed the surface. And the next coat that I ended up putting on was perfect. It didn't have any problems, and it went on like butter. Not like butter. Like butter would come off. It went on like glue. It's a better description. As for the sound deadener, I don't know if you can hear me or hear any decent quality. There is a little bit of reverberation. I do have a lot of windows, and windows aren't exactly the best for creating a clean sound environment. In the end, I hope the furniture that I add will enhance the sound quality inside the van. I like the idea of having the windows because I wanted to be able to drive around and have the scenery outside the van to become part of my internal van videos, and I like the idea of natural light. So I decided to have so many windows. But I did have a guy who was a representative from Moral, an audio company that deals with car audio, and he stood inside this van and he told me that, I don't exactly remember the specific quote, but he said, "I don't think I've ever been in a van with such a deadened sound quality." And that was before I had any of the wall kits on. So he stood in here and he was like, wow, from a audio technician standpoint, this is really, really a nice environment to record videos from, or to record audio from. That being said, that completes this video. I just kind of wanted to go through the ins and outs. If you have any technical questions, or you want to see the full process of me spraying the interior of this van and tearing it down and putting it back together, I made a whole bunch of videos about it, and I will link to them below. They're on my other channel, which is a more, like I said, a travel vlog style channel. In this case, I just wanted to kind of give you a synopsis of my feelings towards lizard skin in this tour that I took. And so this stop on the North American Van Life Industry Tour took place on December 13th of 2021 in Houston, Texas, and that's where I picked up the material. In the next episode, we're going to go meet with a company called Wilson Amplifiers, who deals with amplification devices for your signal inside the van. And I want to make sure that I have good internet inside the van, and they also represent WeBoost, which I have a WeBoost fleet system on the roof of the van that's broadcasting a enhanced cellular signal inside so that I can talk to all of you folks while I'm traveling around. If you have any questions about lizard skin, please leave it in the comment section. Do you think lizard skin is a smart move, or do you think it's dumb? I've heard some people say it's too heavy and it's pointless to use it. Other insulations do just as good. I've heard a number of different things, but I'd be curious to hear your take on it. Leave it in the comment section below. Please share this video if you think it's worthwhile for other people building vans or building other sorts of automobiles that might be able to use lizard skin. And follow me. Click that bell thing, you know, and then that will notify you when I have the next video. And all of the videos on this channel are going to be regarding the build of this van and the travels in the van eventually as I travel around North and South America and beyond. Look forward to the next video, and we'll talk to you later. Another note, if you're looking at the interior of this van and you're looking at my wall kit, we'll be talking about that a little bit later. This is a product called Adventure Wagon that do prefab wall kits, and that's kind of this orange steel bracketry that you see here. It's basically a skeleton that mounts all this L channel to it and all of the wall components as well. Super, super cool.